Hello, it's Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. Today we are going to draw a lion. What you need to join in is gather up a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, and an eraser or an eraser. Simple will do. All right, you are going to start with your pencil. I'm going to use a marker so that you can see me better. And we'll get started. I'm going to move my guide. I'm going to start in kind of just up above the center of your paper with a nice circle. You're going to get your whole arm going from your shoulder and draw a circle about this big. Round and round you go. If you've never drawn with me before, we keep going around and around until we get the shape that we want. You'll see the overall shape is a circle. I've got some lines that are inside, some lines that are outside. That's okay. We're not going to worry about it. We're just going to let that be and use this as a guide. We're not going to worry or stress. This is supposed to be fun, so let's let it be a little fun. All right, off of that, we're going to add in another circle about here. Round and round we go from our shoulder again. When you get that shape going, set your pencil down. See how mine's not perfect? Don't expect it to be perfect. All right, from there, we're going to start up above, kind of figure out where the center of those two circles are. Line up your hand with where you think the center is and set your pencil down. Drag your hand over your drawing, just like that. When you use your whole arm and you pull it down, that helps you get a nice straight line. Now this line, in the long run, it doesn't matter if it's super straight. It's just kind of serving as a guide for us to kind of let us know that's the center of our lion's face. All right, from here, let's go down to what is going to be the mouth area on our lion. Have you ever seen that symbol? It's like a peace sign. We are going to do kind of an extended version of that down here. Now we're making it be just a little bit shallower than, I think that peace sign comes down more like that, but make it fatter along the bottom. So you end up with kind of like you're dividing up a pie. All right, then where you've got your center line at the top of that circle, let's add a narrow triangle about like that. Now I'm just drawing the base of that triangle and I'm letting that circle be the top part. In the center there, I'm going to add just a slight little dip, just like that. You do the same. Now let's add in, let's do our eyes next. We're going to add in two circles, one about here and one about here. I'm going to start on the right hand side. If you're trying to line it up, from the edge of the space circle, if you go straight up, that's right where your eye is going to live. Right here. Now this one's smaller, so I'm planting my wrist, and I'm just using my hand. Round and round I go. And inside that, I'm going to draw another circle. And inside that, another circle. Big to little. All right, same on the other side. Circle about the same size if you can. Round and round you go, just using your fingers. See how mine are different? It's okay. Your eyes are not the same shape. My eyes are not the same shape, but they're close, and that's what's important. All right, next up. Smaller circle inside that, and a smaller circle inside that. Now let's add in some details on that eye. We're going to plant our wrist, and from about the center of that circle, we're going to make a dot and arc our hand. The natural motion, it's going to go right over top of that eye. Now I'm pulling this inside part down just a little bit further. That's going to help our lion to look fierce. All right, same thing on the other side. About halfway through that circle, arc it over and pull it down. If you plant your wrist, your hand's going to move in that motion naturally. Now at the base of that arc, toward the inside, toward the nose, we're going to add a little oval right like that on both sides. Little oval there as well. Now, from that oval, we're going to arc back. You can rotate your paper to get this arc if that helps you. So you can plant your wrist and do it the other direction. Now we're going to do a mimicking line above and below. So we're just going to kind of follow that line we just drew. And then at the end of it, we're going to add in a little oval, just like that. Same thing on the other side, mimicking line with the little oval, just like that. All right, mimicking line underneath, just like that, and like that. Now, just off to the side of that, let's draw a little oval. It's going to be kind of angled about like that, and about like this on the other side. Angle it the other direction on the other side. This one's small, so you're planting your wrist and just using your hand. Now let's give ourselves some guides for this nose. From the edges of, actually, go inside the nose. Let's draw the nostrils. We're going to do an oval here, kind of in the center of that line, maybe skewed a little bit more toward the top, and then an oval on the other one, and then we're going to do an oval out from the base of the first oval out to the edge, and from the base of this oval out to the edge of that circle. Now, from those furthest ovals that we drew, we're just going to add in kind of a triangular shape. It's not going to be super straight lines. We want it to arc just ever so slightly out, as close as you can to the edge of that nostril there. All right, now let's add in some guides for where our ears are going to be and the mane. So their ears lift kind of diagonally up from their eyes. So if you go touch your finger to the eye and pull it out, that's where you're going to draw your little circle. Now for such fierce animals, they have really cute ears. They just kind of look like teddy bear ears. So we're going to draw a little circle there, and inside that, a little arc. Now over to the other side, touch your finger to the eye, slide it out at a diagonal, and that's where you're going to draw your next circle. Same thing, give it a little arc. All right, now for the mane. The mane kind of lives in three areas. You've got the top part, and then a longer top part, and then you've got the inside mane, and then you've got an even fuller outside mane. So we're going to draw the top part with an oval, just like this, kind of in between those ears. Give them a nice little oval. And then above that, let's go around that oval and just extend it out just a little bit. So we've got like the lower portion and then the upper portion. Now let's do the inside mane. This oval is going to cut in front of the ears, cut into the top part in front of the ear, and come down under the chin. So it will be about this big. So we're going to get our whole arm going. Around we go. Go around a few times. Get yourself comfortable with your shape. Now we're going to draw essentially the same shape. You can go along this line, the top part of that oval, and then come out a little wider down and around. So start at the top part of that oval, and then come out a little wider. Use your whole arm. All right, now we're going to add in a few details with our pencil so we know how to do it when it comes time for our marker. I like to do for their mane, if you touch your pencil down to the edge of that face circle, let's start on the left-hand side, you're going to touch it down, follow along that circle, and then just kind of pull it out. We're going to do a few of those around the face. Go from the last one you did and just pull it out. You can even kind of curve it back if you want to. Same thing on the other side. Start around the circle, pull it out. Now, in the long run, you can use these as guides, or you can just kind of get the feel for it and create them differently with your marker. That is up to you. So we're just going to kind of do that along the inside of that face until you get up to the mouth. Around that circle and down. Now when we get up here, the fur points up. So we're going to touch it and kind of curve around the circle, but pointing it upward. Touch it to the circle, point it upward, and pull it out. So you're going up and then down and around, and then down and around. Now for this longer mane area, the inside and the outside, when we go to do that, we're going to do a long stroke along that oval and then cut back into it. So we'll do motions kind of like this. I'll do the outside one so you can see it a little bit better. Down, touch down, and around. Alright, so we are ready for our marker. You've got everything you need to do this super cool lion. So set down your pencil and grab your marker. I'm using a Sharpie. You can use whatever kind of marker or pen you have, just something that you can't erase is the key. Let's start with our lion's eyes because those are the funnest part. We are going to draw around that circle, the biggest circle that we drew. We're going to draw around that circle first. Then around the smaller circle, and then around the littlest circle, and then fill in any area we have left there. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Big circle, trace around that. You've done all the heavy lifting, so now you're just using the guides that you created. Little circle. See how we drew the eye with the highlight there? All right, now let's draw that arc over the eye. Draw right over what you already had, coming down into that little oval and fill in the oval. Same thing on the other side. Arc, down to the oval, fill in the oval. Very good. Now let's do that arc underneath. They have these really beautiful dark lines that surround their eyes. So we're filling in those. Okay, now we're going to do our little mimicking lines. Now for this top one, we're going to go around that arc, and then we're going to go around the outside of that oval. So go around your arc, and then go around the outside of that oval. Very good. For a second I thought, did I start my time lapse? I had to stand up and check. All right, now let's do the same thing on the other one. Now for me, it's going to be easier to start around the exterior of that oval and go over the arc. If you're more comfortable going the other way, go for it. But because of the angle of my paper, I'm going to do it this way. See how we used that oval to help us get like a crease in our lion's forehead? Kind of cool. Now for the nose, we're going to just draw a little hint of this triangle that we drew. We're just going to do a little hint of that. One on that side and one on that side. Now for these little ovals that we drew on his cheeks, we're just going to go around the exterior portion of each of those. Just a little bit on either side. A little on this side and then a little on that side. Now let's go down to this nose. Let's figure this nose out. For these ovals that we drew on the nose, we're going to fill in all those ovals nice and black with our marker. Now my marker is thick enough where it kind of just go over them and it fills them in. If yours isn't, take a second and fill them in. Then we're going to go along that little dip that we did on the top and then ride the circle over to those ovals on either side. Then pull down your triangle to that center line. Now this part here is going to be their mouth. So we're going to do, lines have kind of like a line that comes down from the center of their nose. So we're going to just give a hint of that, go about halfway up that center line there, and then go over those dividing lines like that peace sign or dividing up a pie. Head over to the edges of your circle. Now let's go back up to the nose. We're going to connect down to our circle with these little lines. We're going to go along our circle and cut in just ever so slightly. Then go back along the circle and cut in and back and meet up with that straight line there. Same thing on the other side. This little cut in that we're doing kind of gives the hint of, they've got rows of whiskers there, and if you look at them, it almost looks like they've got like freckles coming in. This just gives us a hint of that as an idea. Let's go ahead and draw a little line where all those meet up and fill that in black just to give it a little bit more dimension. All right, moving back up to the face, right where we had our center line meet up with our triangle, we're going to give a little hint of that center line, and then we're just going to kind of feather off of it, just ever so slightly. If you want to add in any more creases up here, you really could add in whatever you wanted, or you could do one coming this way. The more creases you have, probably the fiercer your lion is going to look. I'm going to go ahead and move on and do the chin next. This part, I'm just going to kind of touch my marker to that circle and do short little strokes coming down, just like that. It's like it's a little bit furry there, but not super furry. Now we are ready for our mane. We're going to start up around the top of the head. Let's do the right side first. We're going to kind of follow our guides, and if you didn't do those, you can create them with the marker. We're just going up from that circle, flicking our marker up. We're kind of riding along the circle so that part gets drawn over a few times. And then as we come down, touch along the circle and pull your marker out. Just curving around. At this point, you're deciding how thick, how wide, how skinny is your lion's face. Now, when I originally did my drawing, I looked at it and I said, oh, I think I made it too thick. So then I just simply went back in and made this line a little darker. Like I wanted it to be a little skinnier. So I just made that line there a little bit darker. You decide, draw it in, and then you decide, do I want it to be skinnier? If so, just kind of draw along that line, and that'll do the trick. Back up to the top, touching and flicking your marker along that circle to create that idea of the fur there, their mane. Down and around you go. Decide how wide you want their face to be. All right, you're doing good. Just kind of shading in a little bit closer to their face right there, making that just a little bit darker. Now this I feel like is a little too rounded for me, so I'm just going to add in another little line there to make my circle just a little bit smaller. Okay, let's do the top of the hair. the top of the mane. So it's got one section here and then a little taller section there. So we're just going to give a hint of that smaller section with just a simple little back and forth kind of motion. We've done this motion quite a bit on lots of different animals. Now let's add a few of those for the back part. Just pick a spot along that oval, do a couple back and forths. Now we're going to go to the inside portion of their mane. And we're going to add in around the ears. I'm going to go tuck into those ears with that back and forth motion there. Same thing on the other side, back and forth. This front mane lives in front of their ears, and then that larger mane lives behind their ears. So we're letting that be what pushes that front and back. Now we can do our ears because we know where they live. So we're going to do right around that little ear, into that tuft of fur we just created, and then that little arc we drew on the inside, get that arc in a little scribble there. Same thing on the other side, around the ear, do the arc, and a little scribble. Alright, now we're going to go down around the mane with that idea of we're just going around the circle and just kind of touching out as we go down. Kind of overlap. When you get toward the bottom, you can do a little bit more of that touching and flicking, and then the back and forth kind of motion when you get down toward the chin. Same thing on the other side, go around that oval, and then pull your marker out. You get about here, do some of that back and forth stuff, and you're good. I'm going to kind of do a few on the inside there. It's not so tidy. Alright, let's do the outside one. It's going to live behind the ear. So we're going to start at the ear and go along our circle. That motion of touching our marker to the circle and then pulling it out. When you get about here, you can start to do your back and forth like that. Same thing other way. Touch your marker to that circle and then pull it out. Back and forth, then back and forth. Okay, one more detail. You can add this in or not add this in. If you like where your lion is looking right now, leave it. If you want to add in their whiskers along their face, you can do that. Those whiskers live in this area here, and I'm simply just going to hold my marker for a second and pull it out. When you hold your marker there for a second, it gives you that dot. I'm just going to do like 5 to 7 of those, and I'm going to kind of have them go in different directions. They don't all live like nice and neat in 3 little lines. So we're going to touch, hold, and pull out. Like that. All right, we are ready to erase. You just drew a really cool line, and you guys just feel really proud of yourselves. All right, I'm going to switch back to my guide because I drew this one with pencil, and I will erase right along with you. Find a clean spot on your eraser, steady your paper, and just go over your lines. You are going to be surprised with what you just drew. Make sure you send me your drawings in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and all that internet talk to my videos, please. And then send me your drawings. I really want to see them. If you send them to me, they live on Facebook, and then I will also put them on my website on RebeccaInc.com. If you've sent me drawings, you can find them on my website, Rebecca Inc. Under the Interact tab, you will see all of your drawings. You can check out some of my drawings while you're on there. And you can also download some things to do over the weekend. I've got coloring pages. I think later on today, my goal is to upload a coloring page of a frog. So you can look for that. You can also find me, Rebecca Inc. on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spoonflower. If you are a sewer or a quilter, you can find my fabrics on Spoonflower. Send me your drawings. Send me what you want to draw. Stay healthy and stay positive, and I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.